2 years ago, I started this podcast. 2 years ago, I went to a room in my house and I tried to record a trailer episode for this podcast. Well, it was scripted down, but I still had to record it more than 10 times because I kept making mistakes. I kept saying the wrong things. I was tensed. Yeah, I was alone, but I was tensed. Same 2 years ago, I told my friends about the podcast. 2 years ago, I went on Facebook and I typed, "Hey guys, I'm starting a podcast and it's called Grow&Glow Podcast." I also went on WhatsApp. Yes, I went on my WhatsApp story, or I call it status, and I typed, "Hey guys, my name is Gracie Imo, as you know, and I am starting a podcast." And guys, the energy was like the highest level. You guys just encouraged me and all, and I started the podcast. 2 years ago, I also went on Instagram to set up my podcast page, and that was where it all started. The main reality, the life of the podcast started from there. So I went on Instagram, I posted my logo. Did I even have a logo that time? I posted just a design I made for the podcast. Then I also started seeing other podcasts that were like 2 years old, a year old, some months old, podcasts that have been on Instagram for like 3 years, and you should know what I'm talking about. Like, they've been in the business of podcasting before me, and their designs were so good, their voice was perfect, the content I haven't heard, it was so good. And I was wondering, my podcast is not that good. I was also saying that my podcast is still very, very scattered. My podcast is not sounding as I want it to be. When I say sound, like the sound is not so good. And I was like, my podcast sound is still so, it's a little bit, I don't even know what word to use. As of that time, I was just complaining. I wasn't complaining to anyone, but I was complaining to myself. Right down deep inside, I was always, this podcast is not so good. Blah, blah, blah. Why? Because of those people's podcasts I saw on Instagram. Forgetting that I was just starting. My podcast was just like 3 months old. Can you imagine if a 3-month-old baby wants to say, "I want to start walking"? It doesn't work like that now. And that was what was happening to me. My podcast was still a baby, and I was wanting it to become an adult overnight. It doesn't work like that. So yes, that happened, and I felt intimidated to the extent that I took a break. An unplanned break. It just happened. I just stopped podcasting. I stopped releasing content. The energy wasn't there anymore because I felt like my podcast wasn't good enough. So I took that break, and I was just all over the place, feeling overwhelmed and tired and all. Well, I had to get myself back. I had to think through. I had to go back to the reason why I started the podcast. I didn't start just because of being in a competition with other podcasters or to be the best podcast on Instagram. No. I started because I wanted to help people. I wanted to help young people. I want to help young people to deal with issues in their lives and also become the best version they should be, as they're made to be. I had to think about why I started the podcast. I had to think about why I am doing it, because if you don't know your why, you'll go for anything. Yeah. So that was what happened, and I got back on my feet. I started podcasting again, and guys, that was when I started even releasing amazing, like very good content. Well, I would say good content because I could see the results from you guys. You listened to the episodes and you also commented, you shared in your feedbacks. And yeah, your feedbacks are always it, guys. Thank you so much for always sending them in. Do you know how much those gets to me? Like, sincerely, I've seen some feedbacks. That is you telling me what you think about an episode. And I'm sorry about the background noise. Let's just move on. And when I see those feedbacks, I think I've cried sometimes, because I'm like, you guys allow me to be part of your journey. We are all on a journey, and sorry about the background noise again. We're all on a journey, and I'm part of yours. Like, I'm allowed to be there to help you. I'm allowed to be there to see what's happening, to hear your updates, to gist with you, to tell you mine too. It's such a privilege. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Some people might be looking at Gracie and saying, oh, this girl, she can podcast. Or, oh, this girl, her podcast is so nice and good. Should I tell you something? It wasn't nice and good all from the beginning. But it is now. It is still growing and glowing. But it is better than then before. It is better than then because of you guys. You kept listening. Even when I went for breaks, you still waited for me. And when I came back, you listened with all the energy you have. Thank you so much. At the same time, like, this podcast has how many countries now? We're in like 36 countries. I think one was added this week. I can't remember again. Either 36 or 37 countries. So yeah, in 2 years, we've gone to 37 countries. Like, guys, my voice has been heard in countries my body has not gone to. Do you know what that means? So if you're outside Nigeria and you listen to this podcast, wow, thank you so much. Thank you. So guys, yes, this podcast is in over 36 countries. Thanks to you. This podcast, we will have our top 5 episode. We have depression. On that episode, I had Sissy and Uncle Ima. Uncle Ima, congratulations. Sissy, shout out to you. Sissy is Sissy of Beautiful Yet Godly, BYG. You can search on the internet about Beautiful Yet Godly. Search on all social media platforms. There's also Okima. Okima came on that episode to tell us about his story of how he was depressed in school, and also how he faked his death as of that time. He faked the death. He did not die, but he just did something, and people thought he died. See, the story is interesting. Go and listen to that episode. That is overcoming depression. There's also another episode, Life of a Nigerian Student. Yay! On that episode, I had Odinaka. My final year roommate. That's what I call her. But she has graduated now. And I also had Favor. Yes, on that episode, they just spoke sincerely out of their hearts about how life is as a Nigerian student. Guys, it's not easy. In that episode, we said, how did we put it? I don't know how to put it. No be beans. There's a slang. No be beans. Life as a Nigerian student, no be beans. It's not easy. So we're just sharing. We shared with everyone our struggles as Nigerian students, and the episode is really, really interesting. You guys have to go back. Just scroll. You'll see it's there. Then there was also another episode, the bro code. Oh my God. See, I've always been like curious about bro codes. What are they? Do people still follow them? Is it like a rule or something like that? So I did an episode on it, and I asked like 10 of my friends or 6, I can't remember how many they were, about the bro code. Do they follow the bro code? Some of them never know the bro code. Well, that episode is just basically about the bro codes. And at the same time, ladies in the house, if you don't know any bro code, I know guys sometimes they used to hide it as if it's one, I don't even know. But anyhow, let me tell you, I got them and I read them out in that episode. So if you want to know some bro codes, go and listen to that episode. There's just a lot of episodes we've done. It's been really, really a journey of ups and downs on this podcast. And guys, let me just tell you something. This new year we've entered is going to be bigger and better. Yeah, we're going to be having live shows, physical shows, virtual parties, listening parties, giveaways. We do giveaways though, but this one is going to be bigger and better, you know. All right, guys, so thank you so much for always listening. To my uncles, like there's Uncle Sunday, there's my aunties, Auntie Wise, Auntie Ene. Those people, let me tell you something, guys. They are not young people. They are not young, but they like listening to our gist. Thank you so much for always listening. Thank you. To everyone who listens, I don't know, I cannot really mention everybody's names, but it is a lot. My podcast family, you're a podcaster and you listen to my podcast. I see you. Thank you so much. Omo, Paul Sadiq, you guys sending your comments, your thoughts on different episodes, like you follow up. Thank you so much for that. Like, I think I'm just going to be calling random names. There is good news. Good news is always commenting on every episode and always dragging me into the mud. Thank you so much for that. There is favorable. There is favor again, who was a guest, but favor has always been there. There is praise. Oh my God. Oyiga, senior man, Oshe. Thank you so much. Who again? I don't want to miss out anybody's name, but guys, I'm sorry if I don't mention your name. I can't remember everybody now. My WhatsApp family, just know all of you. You're all together. Thank you so much. Instagram family, Omo. Thank you so much. Know that stuff they said that on your wedding day, your mom will ask you, who are all these people? You not tell them they're my Instagram family. I think I have that too. You guys are all invited on that day. So to all of you who have been listening to this podcast for the past 2 years, you've been contributing to the episodes, you've been telling your friends about the episodes. Thank you so much. There's Japheth, yes. There's Victor Simon. There is Drello. There's a lot. Oh my God. There's Joanne. There is Amarachi. Ebube Evans. Blessing. Who am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting a lot. Glory. My sisters. Guys, shout out to my sisters. Let me tell you. Podcasting not be being still again. Like, doing all this stuff is not a one person's job. It's not easy. So sometimes I have my backup. I have my manager. My sister is my manager. Oh yeah. So sometimes the professional aspect of this podcast, my sister has been the brain behind it, and this is me officially thanking her. So guys, to thank her too on my behalf, please go on Instagram and search for Ella Communications. Please follow her. Please follow her. And you see, you will need one or two of her services and to be perfect for you, because she will do it well. Ella Communications, my sister Ada, this is me thanking you so much for being there for me for the past 2 years. For the arrangement, for my plenty questions, you see, answer. Guys, sometimes this girl will come around 11 p.m. to come and discuss the business of podcasting. See, I thought this was just a hobby whereby we just sit down and talk. It's not just a hobby. It's also something serious, to take serious and to do well. Thank you so much, Ada. Hannah is the behind the scenes woman. Yeah, sometimes all those behind the scenes videos you see, Hannah they do them. Why sometimes you will forget, but Hannah is the behind the scenes woman. Thank you so much, Hannah, for always being there, for always sharing the episodes too, and for always giving me fans from your WhatsApp. Yeah. Then also, guys, thank you so much, you listening right now. If you're a new listener, please, I would love to know. Chat me up on Instagram at Grow&Glow_Podcast. If you've been listening to this podcast for the past 2 years, thank you so much. I would also love to know what in particular you love about this podcast. I would also love to know what you would like us to add to this podcast, something to improve on, anything. Just let me know on Instagram. And also, I just remember someone's name. Thank you so much for always listening to this podcast and also sending in your feedbacks. There are a lot of people. I want to remember all of his names, so I'm trying to calm down to remember the names. Oh my God, I must remember. I cannot remember again. I seriously can't remember, but I feel I'm forgetting someone special. The person's name. Oh yes, for sure, my BYG family. Uncle Ima, Uncle Victor, Mama Light. There's a lot of. Just know on that BYG. Thank you so much. I cannot just know. I really do appreciate it. And if you want me to still mention your name, and no, I forgot your name, but you want me to mention it, no problem, it's fine. I can mention it in another episode. I'll give you a shout out because I know I'm forgetting a lot of people's name. So just send me a DM. If you have my WhatsApp number, send me a DM. I will mention your name and appreciate you. I'm so sorry if I forgot your name. I know I'm forgetting somebody's name. Okay, guys, let's just move on. So thank you so much for listening to our episodes for the past 2 years. And this episode was inspired by the Young God podcast. I listened to an episode of his, and yeah, I'm doing this. Let me also tell you something, guys. This is the third time I'm doing this episode. I'm laughing about it now, but as of 2 days ago, I wanted to cry. So I recorded a very, very nice episode for you guys. And when I finished, it did not upload. Instead, it just disappeared. It went into podcast heaven. Like, the episode was nowhere to be found. May that never happen to you listening. Nothing will disappear in your life. So, yes, I recorded it the first time. It wasn't really so good, the sound quality, so I could not use it. I said, okay, let me record another one. No. I recorded it. Now, it disappeared. So this is the third time I'm doing this. Well, I don't mind anything for you guys. So thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and also donate to the podcast. Guys, we'll face some challenges in this podcast. In the aspect of donations, we need that support, please. Support the podcast. Let this podcast keep on moving. We need data to podcast. We also need some things, microphones, camera. There's a lot of things to get. So if you would love to support the podcast, please support us through the Podroom app. Download the Podroom app. Search for Grow and Glow Podcast, or you can just search for Gracie Imo and support us by donating to us. At the same time, yeah, guys, seriously, I wanted to say something, but I've forgotten it. Jeez, oh my God. Sponsorships. I've remembered, yes, sponsorships. Grow&Glow Podcast is open to sponsorships. Do you have a business? Do you have a show coming up? Do you want to advertise something to let people know? Well, we're open. Send me a DM on Instagram again, Grow&Glow_podcast, or you can send me a mail, growandglowwithgracie@gmail.com. So, we're open. Sign up now. That was wrong, but well, let's go on. So we are open for sponsorships. Send me a DM on Instagram at Grow&Glow_podcast. Let's do it for you, and you will see results. Okay, guys. So see you next time, and don't forget, this is Grow&Glow Podcast. I am your host. You know my name now. My name is Gracie Imo. I love my name. It's so sweet. Okay, guys. Bye-bye.